Philadelphia's Talk Radio 1210 WPHT, WPHT HD, WOGL HD3, Philadelphia. From the Cherry Hill Volvo Studios, where relationships matter. Always live on the free Odyssey app. It's Dom time. Now, Dom Giordano.
It is Dom time. I don't know. Is it dining with Dom and Dan? Is it dining with Dom? Is it dishing with Dom? That's Fisher-Pine. Something about that seems a little bit too Kardashian-ish.
Oh, you don't like dishing with Dom?
All
I like
right,
that
we'll
one.
call it dishing with Dom today.
That's really something Andy Cohen would host.
Yes, Amin Brown will be in studio today for the big production. The only difference doing the show this hour for me and the other 2 hours is I have no light. It's all due to Cecil B. DeMille, Dan Borowski saying...
Well, hold on. You're the one that required the no light. Come on.
Let's not go into the backstage stuff here. That's unnecessary. But President Biden in Ireland, and I just want to plant this thought throughout the show. I got a couple of Biden things, then we'll get to the great debate last night, what you saw and what you think and what it means. And the fact that Biden is in Ireland, going back to his roots, telling the same corny jokes. In fact, I think the Prime Minister of Northern Ireland asked him not to do any number of jokes. I think they have a Biden list of the jokes that are just worn even for Biden. Oh, thank you very much. Yeah, nice music there on cue. Here's the thing. I have a stack of stories today, and we have been detailing them. One is a transgendered vandal attacking Catholic churches viciously, breaking all kinds of laws, no jail time. Mark Houck was facing 11 years. Remember the abortion clinic situation. We have Christopher Wray and the FBI coming into the docket. They've been caught again trying to get rats inside Catholic parishes to rat on other Catholics. This administration is virulently anti-Christian, but maybe even as much, if not more, anti-Catholic. How in the world, and this guy is not just a Catholic, he's a Rosary Bee, devout Catholic, and where he is today, he's an Irish Catholic. So are we going to see Biden go up? That's what this is about, coming back to the roots. People that routinely call me and identify when we get into this, with Jim Kenney, when Kenney pulls this stuff, how the illegal immigrants of today are just like the Irish. The Irish were put upon, which they were, and they rose up and made it in America. Sadly, they gave us Joe Biden, but that's not their fault. So this Irish connection, if you are Irish, how do you feel about that? That's what the play is here. 855-839-1210. Now, he'll go up a point or two probably in public approval, but if he goes up more than that, Kennedy did the same thing. But I think there was a more legitimate, moderate connection to where the Irish are. About the only thing Joe Biden is connected to with the Irish might be unions. Other than that, he flies in the face of Catholics, Irish Catholics. And I think the average Irish person in America, are they that progressive? Are they pushing this stuff? I don't think that group reflects it. 855-839-1210. Now, the debate last night, Dan and I were texting. I was texting back and forth, as I told you, Dan, with the handlers of 3 or 4 candidates. And it was amazing stuff. Those of you who heard me talk for how long about Helen Gim,
Yeah.
if you finally saw it last night, and you got to remember, that's on her good behavior. That's all the artifice of Helen Gim. The real Helen Gim is a lot further left than that. I didn't think, Dan, in the end, Fox 29 did a bad job. A couple things, though. When the candidates started questioning each other, I must be a bad moderator. First of all, I don't need 3 people up there asking questions in addition to me. I'll handle all the questions. I don't need somebody in the audience. Oh, tell us about your birthday. Stop wasting time. Let's get to these people. Not enough Krasner. They asked Helen Gim about Krasner, but there was no follow-up. Well, how do you explain X, Y, and Z that Krasner's done, including the big thing to hit Gim with, Krasner will not fully prosecute gun crimes. If you're a felon with a gun, that's supposed to be 5 to 10 years. He doesn't do that. Go into detail on that. I think they got off into too many other things. I understand why the Sixers arena kind of made its way in. Amon Brown, who'll be here in studio, we'll play him in a moment. Amon asked about Helen Gim meeting with the head of the Sixers.
I thought I had 18 seconds.
Go ahead.
Jeff Cole, I like Dan usually as an investigative reporter, but not in this.
Oh, what was he doing?
No, and you know, he couches it. He says, sir, 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 how many times? But there was not enough Krasner talk. They started talking about public safety. There was not enough Kensington talk. They didn't drill down on this. I'll tell you what I have a mixed opinion about, Dan, but I pretty much liked the yes-no questions. And I wanted to ask people, do you like that in debate? Here's why I like it. Because it forces them to come to some shorter answer. And then those that don't raise a yes or a no, you got to get the buzzer and go in a timeout. 2-minute penalty, Sherelle Parker. You can't talk for 2 minutes. You got to say yes or no to this. Yeah, there you go. Dan hits the buzzer. I like some of the yes or no questions. Still, we don't know what some of them will do with Danielle Outlaw. But the highlight of the night for me, and let's have some
I
fun.
I love during the yes or no questions, the hesitation to hold up anything at all.
Yes.
Just give an answer.
Do you hear the others fumbling for all those cards? There's only 2 cards here, a yes or a no.
And I loved looking at the candidates who looked to the side to see how other people are answering before they held up their own cards.
And the guy, Derek Green, who I usually like, taking shots at Jeff Brown.
Yeah.
Saying, being mayor is a lot different than selling Fruit Loops. Hey, buddy, you go and try to make a business in food deserts, etc. And Dan, you say that Jeff Brown did say, now I know he said he got the Temple police endorsement.
I went back to try to find if he mentioned anything about an FOP, and he mentioned the Temple, meeting with the Temple police and getting the Temple endorsement.
Right. Okay. So let me put my cards on the table. I believe he's got the endorsement of the FOP. Why is he not announcing that? Particularly, Dan, 2 highlights. Amon Brown outing Helen Gim about meeting with the head of the Sixers. Now, people know how I feel about this. I don't want that arena there. This is ridiculous. I'll admit my bias. I don't like any of these people leading the Sixers, etc. And usually Philadelphia says we got to respect the wishes of the neighborhood, Chinatown. Are they going to override that and put this ghastly arena there? Why? Because the unions want it? Is that progress for Philadelphia? On what basis is that progress for Philadelphia? But when Jeff Brown, who has said, get rid of the damn trash, is his campaign slogan, and I think that's a good one, was asked about the fact that the trash goes to Chester. Now, Dan, you thought this was kind of funny. Did you think he was out of bounds?
No.
Okay.
I thought it was funny, and I thought he was just being honest. I mean, why should he care about what happens over in Chester?
Yeah, all right, here's how it sounds. I happen to think I like this guy's style on this. Now, he really pulled it together at the end, too, for listeners, Dan, when he said, well, no one likes trash. So wherever the trash goes, somebody's going to complain. What's wrong with that? What would these people do with the trash differently than what Jeff Brown said? Here's how it sounded on the trash.
Garbage pickup system continues to be a persistent problem in the city. Where Philadelphia trucks some of its trash has spurred accusations of pollution and environmental racism, specifically from the residents of Chester. Would you, as mayor, keep or change the existing waste disposal contracts?
So I really don't, I'm not sure, because I would bid it out, but I'm not sure if that changes it or not. But Chester is Chester. I'm worried about Philadelphians and how their lives are. And so what will come first to me is what would be best for my Philadelphians.
So you don't care about Chester?
I do care.
The trash that's coming from Philadelphia.
I do care, but I don't work for them if I'm the mayor. I work for Philadelphia.
No.
And the trash has to go somewhere. And whoever gets it's going to be unhappy with it.
Well, that's not really an appropriate answer.
Oh, I
but-
got it.
can
Sorry, that
Okay.
honesty
discuss
hurts
it.
you.
Jeff Cole.
That response is the same way you treat the black and brown community.
Okay, thank
that
you very much.
generated your life.
Thank you very much. Jeff Cole, you have the next question.
Now, look, a couple things. That was Rebecca Reinhardt, who I like a lot of the things she said. She pushed back on Kensington. How is that an inappropriate answer? He was being honest. And Sherelle Parker, on a personal, we love. But right away with the black and brown community on that, come on with this guy. This guy's the one put in food deserts. And he's saying, hey, Chester's going to have to deal with that. That's what they built the incinerator for. They want to deal with it. They get paid. Why is that his problem as mayor of Philadelphia? What's he supposed to do?
And the follow-up question should have been, where do you want the trash to go?
Well,
then?
right. Or, you know what?
Like, are we going to shoot it into space like Futurama?
Yeah. And the pivoting point, Dan, I was hoping, and under fire, it'd be impossible to do this. You know that Chester has reduced their violent homicide, violent crime rate tremendously. Why is that? Jack Stolzheimer, carrot and stick approach that Larry Krasner won't do. Thank you. Thank Jack. Come on, Jack. He's on my side. Stop playing that. Get rid of that. All right. There we go.
Too many Doms.
On a hopeful note, Tim Scott is one step closer to announcing for president. Let me throw that out there. I think he would be my VP candidate. Trump or DeSantis, whoever it is, would be smart. He sits there with Kamala Harris and he says, yep, you're going to hear it tonight. Cotton to Congress.
Oh.
You're going to hear it 4 or 5 times, Kamala. Did you go from cotton to Congress?
Now, if he does run, though, do you think he polls in any kind of double-digit percentages?
South Carolina, one of the early states. Well, that's going to be the test. How come everybody says nice things and we'll play you what he said? It was beautifully done. Why wouldn't Tim Scott be somebody you'd consider for president? Oh, don't please. I'm tired. Say, well, no, it's Trump this time. He can wait 4 more or 8 years type of thing. He's not a Nikki Haley. He's way beyond a Nikki Haley, I think. I don't know his foreign policy positions per se, Dan, but I'm sure you'll be getting them on like tomorrow or Friday. And, well, you heard that, right? We'll hear those.
Who am I getting on?
Tim Scott.
Okay.
He's come on before.
Yeah.
I just love the cotton to Congress line. I could have him say that all. I mean, it's such a killer, so true.
It's awesome.
All right, so phone lines to get in. What did you take away from this, even if you're out in the suburbs? Any number of people, candidates on the stage, would be a lot better than the trio we have right now. I would have stuck more to public safety. I didn't mind some of the stuff they did with the schools. That was okay. But can you see that just to debate, Dan, if they had 5 debates, we'd really see something here. And I have to say, Alan Dom rose above all this. He's the guy with a lot of good solutions. Sounded like he'd managed the city. You know what the Inquirer said? Well, first of all, they gave Amon Brown the lowest rating of their pundits today at the Inquirer. That must mean he's doing something right. He's probably got that up on a billboard already. He's at 3.5 rating. Sherelle Parker was number 1. I think the devil barely beat out Helen Gim on Twitter.
Wait,
it was barely.
Sherelle Parker won it according to the
Yes,
Inquirer?
according to the Inquirer. Sherelle Parker won it. Yes, yeah. I don't see that either.
No, I don't at all.
Yeah, and Jeff Brown was just above Amon Brown. I don't have the rest of them in front of me, but it was nonsensical what they saw playing out here last night.
Who would you grade as the best?
Who performed the best overall in this? Well, I thought Alan Dom was good, but I told his guy it's too quiet. You know what I mean? The things he was saying, right on the money, but he's got to grab attention more here. I love several things Amon Brown said. He's a star, but he's got to do a better job. And I'm going to ask him about it, Dan, and you thought the same thing. Asked about his personal finances by Jeff Cole connecting to running the city. He's got to come up with some better stuff. His lived experience, though, what he's been through, still carrying a bullet, and his answer about schools, he would have on the school board 35 to 40% of people who support charter schools. Wow. Jeff called it and seemed to hear that. They didn't jump on that. They didn't talk about charter schools and school choice enough.
At all.
If you're going to talk about schools, you got to talk about that. Too many candidates, too. 7's too many. You know,
I was just disappointed in Sherelle because time and time again she comes on our show and she seems incredibly genuine.
Yes.
And there were times last night on the debate stage where she had a different audience.
Yeah.
That she had a very political kind of stance, and it kind of made me question as to whether how genuine she's actually been with us. That's why I kind of, I think she did good for a general audience. I just, knowing the background that we know with Sherelle, I just expected a tougher on crime approach than she presented last night.
She was somewhat, but who won according to her? Who was best?
Until the last 5 minutes, I would have said Amin. I thought Amin.
Then you thought Alan Dom?
He's a guy whose name's been in the media, but his message hasn't been out there.
Exactly.
And I think this was the opportunity. He did a great job of getting his message out there and telling an audience who he was. But then Jeff Cole threw him that, financing question, and he had, admittedly, a really bad answer for Jeff Cole.
But the Inquirer said that Alan Dom is a rich guy who means well, but that doesn't mean he should run the city. Oh my God!
I don't get that.
You know what it is? They're all hooked in. It's the same thing that Trump won against and won with it. We're all hooked in that you have to be in politics forever to know how to run the city. In fact, I wouldn't quite say it's an inverse, that if you've been in that all that time, you're going to be bad. But I would say it's pretty close to it. That someone that did what Alan Dom has done or Jeff Brown, they have a better shot at managing this with fresh eyes and all the nonsense that goes on in Philadelphia. I'd give them a better shot. All right, phone lines.
Question. I just want you to respond to Will Bunch's criticism of Alan Dom.
Yes.
Will Bunch writes, impressive with his knowledge of city issues, but leadership also requires empathy, which failed to come through, seeming insensitive about how gentrification affects the city's working class.
He said Chinatown he didn't think would be gentrified, or he hasn't been involved in gentrification. Again, the phony empathy. Where has Alan Dom done damage? He's created jobs, entrepreneurship, wants to lift people up. Of course, if you're a far lefty like Will Bunch and that phony grammarian over there, that's one of their pundits, Berg, Well, by the way, did the grammarian score against Helen Kim? Dan, did you hear what she said? There was no discussion between him and I. Wait a minute, Helen. Which pronoun do you want to put in there? You were correct with the him. Why did you say I at the end of that? I bet Helen Kim would have said that I's correct. That would have been a good moment.
And what was with the crowd?
Oh, well, they're Temple students.
Is it Temple students that were who was in the audience? Was it like teams of the, mayoral candidates?
I think Helen Kim's mob was there, and she played to that ineffectively. Yeah. I don't know if you were allowed to bring your entourage in or not.
I just think clapping's so rude.
Oh, yeah. Well, mainly for her. That was about the only time it happened. So phone lines, we'll give you the side question coming up. We'd love to get you in. If you watched any of this or you've heard some of it, what jumps out at you? Again, most of these people would be better. Philadelphia, though, should see how bad Helen Kim will be. This will be beyond a nightmare, just something you cannot imagine. She revealed herself, but it's a lot worse than what she revealed. A whole lot worse. I wish they had stuck on Krasner a lot more. Demand answers from these candidates. Isn't Krasner the main hurdle to solving violent crime? Yes or no? 855-839-1210. All right, let's go ahead to have the Martin Water people back with us. Water quality. Could it be any more critical? We know that just from the incidents of, about a month or so ago. Frequently in the news almost every day. So the recent spill and scare is still fresh in our minds. To ensure drinking water in your home is clean and pure, just do what I did and trust Martin Water Conditioning. For about 50 years, the Martin family has put their passion for clean water to work for their customers. They are the water experts, and my Connecticut system from Martin guarantees that only crystal clear, all natural water flows from my tap. It tastes great, provides peace of mind knowing it's clean and fresh. And right now, their customer appreciation sale going on. Save up to 20% on a Connecticut installation or save $100 on a K5 reverse osmosis from Connecticut. They're offering a $100 trade-in rebate on Connecticut systems. Their knowledge and expertise is unmatched. But what I really love about Martin Water Conditioning, their integrity, their dedication to incredible, you'll see this, customer service. Visit martinwater.com or better, call them now. 888-887-7555. 800-887-7555. 800-887-7555.
Kale and Company Week.
All right, good Wednesday. Dom Giordano Show, 855-839-1210. You get on board.
Dom, we are live on YouTube, Dining with Dom, until 1 p.m. Head over to youtube.com/@1210WPHT. Subscribe, like the channel, please. It'll notify you whenever we go live. And this is going to be a daily thing we do at noon. And coming up at 12:30, you'll see Amin Brown in studio talking with Dom. So head over to youtube.com/@1210WPHT. And sorry to keep talking, Dom, but I just want to tell you, Fred Flintstone is watching us on YouTube. Well, that's his name at least. And he says he's having eggs for lunch today.
Well, what kind of eggs does he have? That's wait a minute. That's an awful pricey lunch. Doesn't he know what Joe Biden has done to the price of eggs?
So expensive.
Yes. Maybe you should have a potato or something. All right.
So tweet at us, hashtag Dining with Dom. Pictures of what you're eating while you're watching us. We'd love to talk about it and share.
Now, I believe Ro is watching on YouTube. She will give you some hair commentary there, Dan, in a moment, hopefully. Okay.
Hedda Lettuce writes in, I raised my container of blueberry Yoplait to you, Dom.
I used to love that blueberry Yoplait, but it's heavily sugared. I think 19% of it is sugar. Yeah, something like that.
Man.
I could be off a percentage point. All right. So the FOP, I think that's a prized endorsement, Dan. The membership of the FOP has been told, Tiffany, if you may, at drum roll, if you would, Tiffany.
Wait, I got to get it.
Yeah, we should always have a drum and a drum roll ready to go. Yes, that the FOP has endorsed Jeff Brown, but it's been out there for a while. So last night he touted, and today he touted the endorsement of the Temple Police.
Yeah, what's going on here?
So how can you endorse the Temple Police, but you got the FOP endorsement and you don't say anything about it? Now, we're only you and I, two people, Fox 29 and all these other people, there's 100 of them. You would have thought they would have known that and might ask about that. And is the FOP endorsement kind of a nice thing, but radioactive? Could it be that bad in Philadelphia? Because recently we saw the battle in Chicago where Paul Vallis had all the police endorsements and he wrapped himself in them. The communist running against him, who's now mayor, had the teachers' thug union endorsement. and that won. So does it count anymore? Does the FOP endorsement, if you want public safety, why wouldn't the FOP be one of your critical endorsements? Come on, Jeff. Tell the world you got the FOP endorsement. It's a great thing. We know the backstory, Dan, somewhat of why some did not get it. It's not a pretty story. That's for another day, but just kind of curious. All right, side question. Now, we mentioned yesterday, DJ found this piece that Tupperware is having a lot of trouble. Millennials like Dan are just covering stuff up in bags or baggies. They don't have any Tupperware in the house. I mean, you can't have a house. If the FBI raids your house and you don't have Tupperware, did you know in 36 states, you get an extra year in jail for that?
Like, honestly, I think Tupperware's decline is because there are competitors that are half the price when you go into the store.
Is that what it is?
Tupperware brand is pretty pricey.
Do they have the burp, though?
It's true.
That locks in the freshness.
Yeah.
That's the secret. Okay. So we're asking today some product, some service we take for granted. It's always been there. It's great. It may not be overwhelming, like it's going to change your life, but it makes life better. It makes life more convenient, something like that. So my number one answer, I'm taking off the board, is the remote. What would happen today? I was just sweating in here thinking about it. If I didn't have the remote at home, where's the remote? Where's the remote? What happened to the remote?
Well, maybe you
get some new batteries.
Maybe you wouldn't be sweating if you took my invention.
Yes,
that air conditioning.
Yes,
yeah,
that's a little bit bigger, but you're right. It is the ultimate convenience. It changed the southern part of the United States.
And we just take it for granted.
Yeah, up until then, they're just drinking mint juleps 3/4 of the year and trying to stay out of the sun. Now they can actually do stuff.
And you think, like, you travel over to Europe and a lot of the boutique hotels, like in Paris and all, they don't have air conditioning, and you don't realize it till you get there and you're sweating your bum off.
Yeah, exactly.
You take it for granted. And one more I'm going to take off because we did underrated inventions a little bit ago, and this one won. I got to take it off. It's just fantastic answer, that being the elevator.
Ah, yes. Not the escalator, the elevator.
The elevator.
By the way, are you one of those people that put your hands on the rail of the escalator?
I have to.
Oh, God. See, you have to force yourself to just balance yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't touch the escalator. I tell Ro that can you imagine where that's, oh my God.
Yeah, but now they, a lot of the department stores at the top and bottom of the escalator, they have the, hand sanitizer. So.
You can't have enough hand sanitizer after that experience. All right. 855-839-1210. That's the side question today. Some product, service, something like that, the air conditioner, the elevator, the remote. Try to think convenience, making life easier, simpler, better, that we take for granted. Who knew that Tupperware was suddenly almost extinct or becoming extinct? I mentioned Joe Biden. Going to home base, going to Ireland. He's going to rouse his crowd. That's our Irish Joe in Ireland. And yet, Fox is making the point today, I am too, the Department of Justice routinely attacks the Catholic Church. I blame the bishops. I blame them up and down the line. They're AWOL. If they would, as a unit, say, this is enough, where were they with Mark Houck? Dan, I did hear Cardinal Dolan had Mark Houck on his radio show. I happened to be driving and heard it on Sirius one Sunday, right? Where was Cardinal Dolan? And the interview never mentioned Joe Biden by name. Why not? They're afraid of him. They're afraid to challenge this. And what bigger duty would the bishops have than to challenge Irish Catholic Joe Biden, particularly a cardinal with the name Dolan? This is a pretty anti-Catholic, anti-Christian, across the board administration. Biden knows about it. Maybe Hispanic voters could be tapped into it. But how about Irish Catholics? Are they on board with this just because of what? Joe's one of your own, the union stuff? You kind of like what he's doing on abortion? I'm not sure. All right, 855-839-1210. We should be joined sometime soon.
He's down there in the lobby, so we'll have him right after the break. Yeah.
It's vast security here, but Amon Brown, fresh off last night's debate, will be here with us. Let's get one on board here. Let's get the Earl of Tacony on board on Talk Radio 1210. Hey, Earl, welcome in. What is your invention or service?
I noticed this right away when it happened to me. The computer mouse. Unplug your mouse, or if you have the wireless one, turn it off, and see how easy it is to actually navigate your computer.
It's a great point.
That is a great one. Thank you, Earl. That is a wonderful start. Now, that is exactly, notice he didn't say the computer. No, we're looking for something. Dan kind of jumped the gun with the air conditioner. That's great service. I guess could we live now without the air conditioner? Probably not.
No, it'd be tough.
No, I think literally, I don't know if they could. But I'm picturing the remote. Bro, where's the remote?
The computer mouse is a fantastic answer. I can't stand trackpads on laptops.
No.
They annoy me. And
Yeah,
you ever use like the ball rollers that stay? Back in the 90s, they were real big. Oh,
exactly.
They're terrible.
All right. Convenience is what we're looking for. Amon Brown in studio with us. He was in the center of the debate, revealed all this stuff about the arena and how Ngim had a showdown with Jeff Cole. Love what he said in schools, though, Dan. How come the media ears didn't pick up like mine did? Hey, ask the others about charter schools. Ask them about school choice. Why in the world is that such a difficult thing? All right, that's all straight ahead here on Talk Radio 1210. Let's tell you, though, about the good stuff. Let's talk Italy. That's right. Join me this summer in Italy. Rome, Florence, Tuscany, Milan, the stunning Lake Maggiore at the foot of the Alps. Just picture that for a moment. And then the home stretch, we hit Venice, most romantic of all. Italy, the most revisited country in the entire world. We have luxury hotels, sumptuous dinner feasts that are authentic. You will not believe the venues, the wine, conservative tours. My friends, second time around working with them in Italy, a plus rating with the BBB. You get fashion, unrivaled art, high culture, and the world's greatest cuisine. You visit authentic medieval villages like Orvieto, an authentic balsamic farm. Soak up the warm afternoons rolling along the back roads of Tuscany. And the wine, it is incredible. 5267, that includes your airfare. Colosseum, Michelangelo's David, Vatican, everyone's favorite, the magical romantic Venice. Call him at 888-733-9494. 888-733-9494. Or go to conservativetours.com, 888-733-9494. All right, welcome in. One of the big highlights last night of the mayor's debate. In studio with us, Almond Brown. Was that a luck of the draw that you were right near Helen Gim last night? That has to be a prime, because that's where I'd want to be.
Hey, man, God is an awesome God, and God is the best planner.
Yeah.
You know, and that wasn't the original layout.
Right.
But, everything happens for a reason.
Absolutely. So you got a source. The arena took over. That's the only. I'll tell you one thing, and I know it's hard up on stage. You don't want to be quarterbacking the debate. But when you answered about the charter school, all these media geniuses didn't see this as the perfect opportunity on the spot. Their gut should have told them, ask everybody up there about charter schools, school choice.
See, that's the main issue that we face in these public spaces.
Right.
They don't want to talk about the real issues.
Mm-hmm.
Our traditional public schools right now are a serious problem, and we need to fix them. So if charter schools are leaning better, and a lot of parents, especially in my current district and across the city, they're choosing to send their kids to charter. So that's why I made the statement that I made, that our school board is going to be reflective of the city and not be lenient one way or the other.
Yeah, you said I wrote it down something like 35 to 40%. I think that's right.
And we're going to be shooting for 50.
Right. But it just didn't seem to get a reaction. I would have liked to have heard more too about Krasner. How did you feel during the as a candidate? Did you feel I like it as a moderator, as a host? Because when I did the showcase thing here, it wasn't a debate. We hope to do a debate. And you got to get people to distinguish themselves, holding up the card, yes or no. Were you pretty much okay with that?
Yeah, I was fine with that. But I was hoping that the Krasner questions came my way, but they did not.
Right.
And that's by design, because certain outlets like to protect certain folks, and that's not right. They know I should have been a part of the Krasner conversation, but unfortunately I wasn't.
Yeah, it was mainly Helen Gim, and it's all in the follow-up question. They asked her about, do you think Krasner's doing a fine job? She could say 5 years from now results, but give specifics on that. Did you feel that you couldn't interject that? I mean, I would coach. I'll be presumptuous because I've been asked by several people on the Newt Gingrich approach, which is I'll answer that question. But first, I would just like to mention Larry Krasner sucks, and then move on to
yeah, man. When you're only given a minute,
right?
They're kind of trying to control what's said and what's not.
Right.
Right. We had 1 minute, then sometimes we have 30 seconds. And then if someone says your name, you get 10 or 15 seconds. You really can't get.
Yeah, I would take fewer questions, more time. You probably need 90 seconds on some of these.
90 or 2 minutes, because it goes quick.
Yeah, and people are trying to squeeze too much in because you have a lot to say. You've been pent up. Doesn't it show that if we had more of these debates, 10 or 15 of these debates, they would be revealing?
Yes, I agree with that. We had a lot of forums,
right?
Which we didn't attend all of them, but we attended some. But if those forums were debates, then the voters would be able to. We wouldn't be undecided right now.
Exactly.
Because last night, it revealed who people are. For example, Jeff, he just did it again. He showed us what he cares about and what he don't care about. And what I understand is he don't care about real people with real problems.
Now, wait a minute. I may have to challenge you. You mean the trash stuff?
Yeah, the trash got to go somewhere.
Well, but it does.
Like, let's send it to Delancey Street.
Well,
you know what I mean?
But wait a minute, though. Chester has the incinerator. They're paying. And he did say at the end, in fairness. Well, I'll let you answer then. What would you do with the trash?
The trash. Well, first off, his answer was completely disrespectful. If he's running on pick up the bleak trash, he need to have a solid plan in place. And he does not. So what we plan to do is meet with the professionals in that space and look at what other cities around the country been doing, because we do have some very clean cities that are doing the right thing by the trash.
Well, with all due respect, wouldn't you've already thought about that? He has right now. He's at least saying what to do. You've thought about the police stuff more than anybody. That's incredibly detailed. Let's talk about Jeff Cole. What is the problem that Jeff Cole has with Amon Brown? Dan and I were texting each other furiously during that.
You know, man, I don't know. I think Jeff Cole got a little thing for me.
Oh, wait.
You know? I think he got a thing for me, man. And you know, he is who he is. You know, that's his profession. I respect him for that. But you know, this decision is going to come down to the people. You know, I'm not going to focus on individuals like him. They're in place for a reason, and that we're not going to let them get in our way. Whether it's him or another reporter, you know, he has a history of being exactly who he is, and that's the space he likes to be in, and I respect that. We're going to stay focused. We're going to be in the streets, in your living rooms, in your schools, looking at the conditions and having a solid plan on how to make the city better. It's that simple.
What else was left out? Well, let's talk about the arena for a little bit.
Opioids was left out.
Okay, yeah, definitely. Well, Kensington was skirted, and I liked Rebecca Reinhardt. Now, she's kind of like the A student approach. I get that. But she did push back on him and say, yeah, Kensington can be changed. And I know you say that. Isn't the first requirement to believe, this is like Ronald Reagan, the Soviet Union can be defeated. We did that. We can defeat what's going on in Kensington. If you don't believe that, all the programs in the world are not going to matter.
True. And Kensington is going to, and like I said this before, it's going to take an all hands on deck approach. But it starts with removing violent criminals and repeat offenders. We have bad actors coming from all over the country to sell to our citizens. And then we have citizens moving to Philadelphia just to have access to the potent drug here. That's a problem. So we gotta move into those communities and address it heavy-handedly, just like the crime is addressing that community.
Yeah, I don't think you had a chance to. And again, 7 people, but I would have zoned in on this. Very detailed crime report, the warrants, the outstanding people. And you're in the camp, I believe, Amon, that I am, and Chief Ramsey and the smarter people on this. There's only about 7,000 to 10,000 people, maybe even fewer, that are the actual career criminals. If you stop them in the means that you talk about, you're going to see a big decrease in that. Now, I don't know what we do. Well, I do have a sense, and I know you have a sense, but there's another segment, these younger kids that are doing stuff. But the actual career criminals, your plan would put a dent in it. Chester was brought up. Chester's doing that, as you know.
Yes. You have Chester, Camden, Trenton. They all are addressing the crime. You don't even hear about the crime in Trenton anymore. You don't really hear about the crime in Camden anymore. You don't really hear about the crime in Chester anymore because they are taking violent criminals off the street and are working with the federal government and sending those cases to the feds, and people are getting mandatory minimums of 15.
Part of the carrot and the stick. And you are a big example, too, of the carrot, though, because of lived experience and how your life has changed.
Yes.
And I think you can relate to people in this manner.
All it took was my time on State Road. And I said, this place ain't for me. I said, this ain't for me. You know, a few walls with a little cot, and a window that was 6 inches by 6 feet long. Not for me.
Exactly. I want to talk about the arena too, coming up a little bit. I'm not sure we're on the same page on that one. We'll see. And you may have better, but I give you kudos. Whoever your sources were, Helen Gim meeting with one of the owners of the Sixers. Oh my God.
Yes.
What was it like during the break or whatever? Did you get any vibe from Helen Gim after you revealed that?
I've been getting vibes from Helen Gim all my life. You know? Yeah, man, she it's clear she wasn't ready.
Right. That was surprising.
Yeah, it definitely was. You remember the situation where when she took a picture of Oz and I, it wasn't okay for me to sit down with an individual from the opposite party, but it's okay for her to sit down with someone that's connected to one of the top issues in the city right now, or the top situation in the city right now.
Particularly if you're going to go after Jeff Brown on the money, and she's the one that brought it up.
Yes, and which I would have had more. I wish I would have had more time, because in that conversation she had with David Edelman, she told them verbatim, I will not be bad for your business.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's.
I thought she just had a conversation about stuff, though.
Yeah. The stuff was
right. Yeah,
how she's not going to be in the way,
right?
Because she probably wanted some of that dark money.
Yeah, and the billionaire line after that doesn't seem to be. Maybe you can work on it and get her on my show. That would be the coup of the century.
I would love to do.
Well, sure.
Yeah,
of course.
Helen Gemini.
Yeah.
Just want to put out a producer's note. She also went to the Union League after, tweeting about how bad the Union League was.
That's true.
So, yeah, she has a history of this kind of thing.
All right. If you want to get in with Amon Brown here, 855-839-1210. A lot happened in this debate last night. What's the website to? And we'll give it frequently for people because this plan, the crime plan is anti-crime plan is very detailed.
Yes, it's amenforphilly.com. So AMENFORPHILLY.
Now I apologize. I pronounced your name 4 different ways. Dan, you heard it differently there. Say it again for us, please.
Amen.
Oh, okay. I was saying it right.
Yeah, you're good.
Dan was right. Yeah, but I heard it 3 different ways last night. So 855-839-1210. That's how you get in on Talk Radio 1210. All right. There are certain home maintenance chores we'd all rather not do. Repainting the exterior of your home every 5 years. Who wants to do that? But there's an incredible permanent solution. John Gilgee and the people at Rhino Shield. Now, Rhino Shield looks like paint, goes on like paint, never chips, cracks, or fades. Ceramic coating guaranteed for life. You never have to paint again. I mentioned John Gilgee. You see what he's done with the Travis Manion Foundation, big friend of the program. He right now is engaged in getting ready for their big season, but it's perfect for you to get going with this. You get the beauty of fresh paint, the maintenance of vinyl, even insulate your home, comes with a 25-year guarantee that you can transfer if you sell your home. This is the preseason, great time to call because John will work with you personally and limited time offer 20% off. Just for listeners, 844-RHINO-99, 844-RHINO-99, or myrhinoshield.com. Dom Giordano Show. Hope you're enjoying this on YouTube. We are in studio with Amon Brown, fresh off the debate last night. Amon, grade 4 Jim Kenney. I'm trying to remember one of the people up there looking around gave him a gentleman's C. He's not a gentleman, and his C is not in this language. My God. I was going to say a massive incomplete or an expulsion would be the grade I would give him probably.
That would have been good. But the F- was good for him.
Yeah, exactly.
I love the F- too.
Yeah, exactly. talking about the police, one of the things, and again, you only have a minute when you're answering these.
It's tough.
If you could probably expand on a minute there, and it'd be a great debate. And again, if I were sitting there in the moderator chair, I would have dropped these other things. When you talk about restoring morale, that's the critical thing to be an effective police department. We could have 100,000 cops. If there's no morale, meaning if they're not doing the appropriate things, stopping the vehicles they should be, et cetera, because they think, I don't want to get in trouble, or why does it matter? Or they're thinking about retiring after they're a week on the job. All this other stuff's not going to matter.
Yeah, absolutely. So when we're talking about boosting them around the department, it starts with the head of the department, which we need
Right.
some serious change there. And I've said it on here before. We're going to bring on a police chief that came up through the Philadelphia Police Department. Well, I almost messed up Philadelphia like green.
Yeah.
So we need to change the head of the table in the police department. But then we also need to let the cops know that the mayor of the city has your back. Is that simple. And that's why what I said last night, there's going to be cops signing up, knocking down the doors to come apply to work in the city of Philadelphia, because they're going to know that the mayor of this town is for them and not against them.
Yeah, I think that was a critical point. Let's take a caller. Jeff in Hatboro. Jeff, you're on Talk Radio 1210. Hey, Jeff, welcome in.
Hey, Dom. Hey, Dan. Hey, Amon.
Hey,
I just wanted to say, obviously, I'm not in Philadelphia, but not far from Philadelphia. And I know Dom is constantly saying, listen, it's going to leak into the suburbs, which, this guy, Miles Pfeiffer, that's only about 5-10 minutes north of me. But anyway, I found last night that you were very articulate and you were talking about being focused and specific, which you really were. And I respect that. I mean, I think that's going to go a long way in your career. You're a much bigger guy than I was thinking when I saw you on stage. But I really appreciate everything you did last night. And I wish you well and hope you do well in your political career.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Jeff. Thanks very much. What are these NPOs that you were talking about last night?
Yeah, so the neighborhood police officers. So we're looking to bring on 160 to 180 additional cops to walk the beat and be what the cops that I remember being. The cops that's walking up and down the streets. If there's a senior citizen getting her bags out the car, that cop is right there to make sure you get up your steps, get your bags on your porch, and to be that visibility. But their number one focus is going to be making sure that we are closing the gap and building the bridge between cops and community. We have to regain that trust because right now, because of certain movements, they have damaged that. So the NPOs their primary focus is going to be making sure that people start to look at police officers how I used to.
And banning ski masks. I mean,
Absolutely.
I came up out of the Barca Lounger for that. I'm in favor of it.
Yeah, man.
You need a skier vote. That might be a problem. Yeah. So what do you mean by skiing vote?
The ski mask, man, in any community. Well, look, the reality is every single night when we're watching the news or TV, you always see 3 or 4 individuals jumping out of a vehicle with no license plate, no tags. Thank you, Isaiah. All that kind of stuff. And then they're jumping out with ski mask on and they're committing a violent crime, whether it's a robbery or shooting up a corner, the opposition. So then you have these same individuals like today, it's 82 degrees out, walking up and down the street with ski mask on. Automatically, that puts you in a space where you feel like you're about to be victimized because ski masks are now directly connected to violent crime. So why are we putting law-abiding citizens in that mental space? We shouldn't be feeling that way.
No, I could agree. You mentioned Isaiah Thomas. He won't come on. He never came on.
Hey, he won't.
And my background is not his, so I respect that he's probably been stopped by the police. Maybe you have been, and you think it was unnecessary profiling. Call it what you will.
I haven't been stopped by the police in almost 12, 13, 14 years.
But to reason from that police can't do their job and that we're not safer. I mean, my wife and I had this the other night, car driving in front of us, absolutely no plate. I don't know how you could drive around even in Philadelphia with no plate and just go down the street.
Listen, you even have people saying, you know what? I'm going to take a delivery menu and put it on half of my plate to act like I'm a delivery driver. It's crazy because of the perception of his legislation.
Yeah.
And look, I understand it. Just right now is not the time for something like that.
Right, exactly. So how do we find you as the campaign continues and your spots?
Yes,
The two of them that we talked about, the first one, suddenly you're there on the couch. I think
Oh,
it was a
yeah.
very dramatic thing. But having that mom
I had the
hearing,
same shirt on.
yeah, hearing the police siren and wondering if her son's going to make it home, a good kid, not doing
Mhm.
anything wrong.
Mhm.
That fear is sadly almost universal in many
Mhm.
neighborhoods in Philadelphia.
Yeah, so our campaign, our strategy is to make sure we're connecting with each and every household.
Mm-hmm.
No matter if you're black, white, young, old, you're going through what our message is on TV right now. There's not one parent that doesn't feel that way when their child leaves out their front door, whether they're going to school, whether they're going to work. And it is our job and my job as the next mayor to make sure we eliminate that feeling. And we're going to make these streets safe by any means necessary. This morning, we were in North Philadelphia. My team and I, we're knocking on doors, giving out literature. And there was a group of black women sitting on the steps, beautiful day outside. And they saw, a few of them saw the debate last night. And their question was, what are you going to do about this crime? And I said, man, well, please tell me your experience first. She says, you don't understand how many times that I had to rearrange my furniture because we are afraid of bullets flying through the window. And then another lady in the
Wow.
same setting says, out of the last 20 individuals who have been killed within a 1 block radius, 16 of them were innocent bystanders within the last 18, 19 months.
Yeah.
This is what we're dealing with.
Right. And I haven't experienced that, but I know, well, I'm in Germantown. I know all around me. We watch where all this stuff has gone on, and it's around us and around our kids. And West Philly, too, the pride of West Philly, those beautiful homes with porches, et cetera. You coming up talking about
Porches
that.
are vacant.
Now it's an open fire zone, and shameful by the media not turning at least 10 minutes of an hour and a half over to the Krasner debate. That's what I would have led with that, and I would have let you guys ask questions back and
Yeah,
forth
what's
between
going
each
on
other.
what's going on with Fox?
Yeah. Why in the world can a moderator not control? If it goes too far, say, all right, we've exhausted that. We have to move on. That's what you do as a moderator. But you going back and forth with Helen Gim or Sherelle or whomever would distinguish on this debate. So thanks for what you did last night. We hope to have a few more debates. Where do people find you?
I'm in for Philly.com, and the social media handles on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram is the same. I'm in for Philly. But our message is simple. If you want a safe city, you vote for me. If you want your children to grow and have a bright, prosperous future, you vote for me. If you are satisfied with the current conditions and you can sit on your porch and you can let your children walk to the corner store or go play in that playground that's underfunded, then don't vote for me. But if you want real change and if you want a new beginning for our city, then we are the campaign for you.
Absolutely. Thank you, Amon.
No,
Thanks
thank
for coming
you.
out today, as always.
No,
All
thank
right,
you. I
big 1
appreciate it.
o'clock hour. We'll break all this down coming up here on Talk Radio 1210. If you just hang out, we'll say our goodbyes because Dr. Bentz is in the office here. And let me tell you about my friend and board-certified prosthodontist and dentist, Dr. Robert Bentz of the Bentz Group in East Norriton. You hear all the time about dentists. They could be very good, but it's important to know the difference between a regular dentist and a board-certified prosthodontist. It takes several exams over the years to become board-certified, with less than half of 1% of dentists nationally being board-certified prosthodontists. That board-certified prosthodontist is the one who can design a customized plan for your long-term oral health and give you the smile you've always dreamed of. Dr. Bentz always says to me, if something's bothering you, get it checked out, take care of it now. He's got dental implants extraordinaire, the on-site digital lab that we talk about all the time, and a wonderful staff, all to make this comfortable, convenient, and effective. Get the oral care you need and deserve and that beautiful smile. The BentzDentalGroup.com, BENTZ. Make your appointment or 610-272-6949, BentzDentalGroup.com.